I would like to begin by introducing today's session, and especially today, the esteemed panel that we have with us today. So welcome to all our attendees and panelists for our CEO's Forum, wherein we look at leadership perspective on social impact through business and CSR. Over the course of the day, we have discussed the roles of different stakeholders in giving life to social responsibilities and the many facets that make CSR activities successful. However, there remains one facet that has remained largely primitive through our discussions: the role of corporate leadership in envisioning and empowering CSR. In the words of Bill Ford, creating a strong business and building a better world are not conflicting goals, but are both essential for long-term success. Corporate leadership and boardroom vision are drivers of social responsibility and influence the larger workforce and their communities. The leaders we will speak to today have set course for what it means to be a business with purpose. So please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists for today. I would like to begin by inviting Mr. Soumitra Bhattacharya, President and MD for Bosch India, as chair for this forum. Mr. Bhattacharya has been associated with the Bosch Group for more than 25 years. A chartered accountant by profession, over the years he has handled roles as varied as Vice President, commercial functions for the Nasik and Jaipur plants of Bosch in India, and also served as the General Manager of the Robert Bosch GmbH's plant. He was the CFO of Bosch India from 2011 till 2018, and since 2016 took over the CEO role. As MD of Bosch Limited, he handles a unique role heading the only public listed company in the Bosch Group worldwide. Lovely to have you join us, sir. Our first panelist for this evening is Mr. Mahendra Singhi, MD and CEO, Dalmia Cement Limited. Mr. Singhi has been associated with the growth and development of the cement sector in India for the last 41 years. Since 2013, he is the Managing Director and CEO of Dalmia Cement Limited, a major group in India, globally recognized for its low carbon footprint in cement production, water positive operations, and bold ambitions and achievements on sustainability. He's also serving as president of Cement Manufacturing Association, a leading body representing about 450 million tons of installed cement capacity in India. Pleasure to have you join us, Mr. Singhi. Our second panelist for today's forum is Srimati Vimla Ramesh, IAS, the Mission Director for Jal Jeevan Mission for the Government of Maharashtra. Srimati Ramesh has completed her BA, MA, and MPhil in history and has many academic accolades to her name. She began her career as a lecturer in the Department of History at the University of Pune and later on joined public service in 1993. Having an interesting mix of management and administration, she has over 28 years of experience and has served in various capacities, contributing significantly to public welfare schemes. She has served as the Managing Director of Small Scale Industries Development Corporation and Deputy Commissioner for Entertainment Duty and Rehabilitation. Thank you for joining us, Srimati Ramesh. For our final speaker today, we have Mr. Puneet Lalbhai, Executive Director for Arvind Limited. Mr. Lalbhai leads Arvind's textile manufacturing, advanced materials, engineering, and agri-businesses. An MBA from NCR, a bachelor's degree in conservation biology from the University of California, and a master's in environmental sciences from Yale University is his invaluable contribution to the CSR and sustainability initiatives at Arvind. His passion for ornithology and conservation has contributed to building sustainable businesses that have the ability to impact ecology and conservation in a positive way. Mr. Lalbhai brings with him a unique combination of youth, conservation knowledge, and corporate governance. Honor to have you with us, Mr. Lalbhai. Over to you, Mr. Bhattacharya.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me and can you see me, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here with all the eminent panelists. And I would just set the context and be requesting all the panelists to come one after the other. And I would just take 4 minutes and request all the panelists also to take 4 minutes. Today's discussion, in my view, is of vital importance, especially in the changing environment that we are going through in the world, and especially in India. COVID has made a complete reset of all that we have seen or heard before. And today, both corporate life as well as personal life is being looked at in fresh terms of the meaning of not just business, but also our own personal lives. In this context, if I not just say CSR, but if I say societal engagement becomes an extremely important part where, in my view, in India, it is not just a part for a mandatory CSR aspect, but also a part where it becomes a must-have for corporates to contribute on sustainable changes in a fast-changing world. Let me give two examples of two groups that I personally have worked in. One is the Tata Group, where I have had a chance to work for 8 years, and the other is the Bosch Group, where I've had a chance to be working still now for the last 25 years. Both the groups have a lot in commonality other than the fact that one comes from India and the other has its origins in Germany. The founders believed that creation of wealth was a fundamental principle of giving it back to society. In the case of Robert Bosch, just like Jane Tata, he gave 93% of his wealth in his will back to the trust called the Robert Bosch Trust. Today, the company, which has a turnover of approximately 650,000 crores, with footprints across the world, is one of the few and perhaps the only largest private limited company with no debt and with 93% of its profits after appropriation for CapEx, R&D, and welfare goes back to the trust for charities. Now, why is it necessary for companies to do something like this? And including in India, we have been following this for decades. In 2 years' time, or in fact, 1 year, 3 months, we are going to be 100 years young in India. Worldwide, we are 136 years young. So I would like to bring to the panelists some very basic questions. In terms from the aspect of a mandatory CSR spend, which has brought in a lot of societal engagement across corporate India, to the basic need for societal change. Changes which involve boardroom discussions in terms of sustainability, changes which mean of thrust areas being created, and in those thrust areas, how do we redefine and make huge and deep implications to people's lives and livelihoods, and changes which also have challenges with them. We have together today panelists both from the private sector as well as from the government. And I would request the first panelist to come is from a very important sector. She comes from the government of Maharashtra. Ms. Vimla is an eminent IAS officer, and she has had a lot of experience. And I would request Ms. Vimla in her opening statements to share how does corporates and government work together to make meaningful long-term changes which are not for publications, but which have a long-term impact on lives, livelihoods, and changes the nature, especially in a country like India, her own experiences, many states, including the state of Maharashtra. Ms. Vimla.
Thank you, Mr. Bhattacharya, for inviting me, and I thank CSR Works also. This is the second time we're having an interaction on this forum. Last time we were face-to-face. But nevertheless, it's very important to have this connect. COVID, of course, be damned, but we're all in this situation, as rightly said by Mr. Bhattacharya. I've seen, last year we had interactions, and there is a lot of earnestness among companies and corporates to have an interaction, and they have this feeling of, as the word rightly says, corporate social responsibility. The word itself, reveals that the thought process has to be of responsibility, of sensitivity towards the community, ensuring that whatever they're doing enables and sustains the activity which are undertaken by the government or by private organizations. When I look at it as a government perspective, I have had the fortune of working with the Maharashtra State Rural Livelihoods Mission or with the Maharashtra Small Scale Industries Development Corporation and several other forums where I was working. I find that the corporates are always very eager, very keen that we should be having some sort of interaction. They should be working for the welfare of the society. But many times when it comes to interacting with government, there is a kind of hesitation, and then there's a kind of feeling that probably they may not get that kind of response which is expected from the government. And government also is very conscious and wary, because many times, with due respects to all the corporates and due respects to the government also, that kind of communication lag sometimes is there. And so what the corporate wants to do and what the government wants, probably that sort of communication gap is always there, and the reaching out to the right people is not perhaps happening in that sense. So government, of course, comes up with many initiatives, and one of them is a VSTF, Village Social Transformation Program, which is happening under the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of Maharashtra, in which a formal platform was made, and which is one of the participants in this program. So that there's an interaction between the Rural Livelihoods Mission. I found that what government needs, it's not necessarily that money. I've been trying to communicate this on several forums when I've been working, that there is a platform, there are women self-help groups which are very proactive, they've reached a level, and they don't need money every time. So this kind of thought process also in the corporates, that everyone is waiting for their money, is perhaps also needs to be rethought. People may need support in the form of services, people may need support in the form of capacity building, taking them to the markets, reaching them out to understand how to brand yourself, how to project yourself. And that I feel, especially for the women's group, for which I very passionately work for, and I feel committed to always, is very important. Now, since I've worn a new hat, before I lose my time, I don't want to lose this opportunity of discussing about water, for which I have started working now. And in the water sector, I feel that I just want to park these thoughts to the people and the corporates who are here, that it is very important that there is a Kosh, national Kosh, which is made by the Government of India, where you can contribute. There is a Kosh which is going to be in the Government of Maharashtra also. So which are the areas where we could possibly work together? Basically that the water supply system is still now been very supply driven. I've just taken over the last 3 to 4 months back. So we have to make it demand based for people to understand what do they need, what is the water source which is required, what is the essential need of quality water, how to ensure that the scheme which is made sustains, how the people really become more committed and contribute to the running of the scheme, because 10% contribution is required under the Jal Jeevan Mission. So in terms of these aspects, I feel it's very important that corporates probably keep this in mind, that operations and maintenance people to understand that they need to support and stop wastage of water, and to understand that they should be committed to contribution of the funds and pay their bills on time. So these are the things which are till now people take for granted and don't want to pay in a rural setup. So probably this component which is there can be looked at, especially training the people, increasing their capacity, making them understand that different stakeholders are there in this program, and especially where there is fluoride infected waters, where perhaps the water ATMs we could think about how we can do that. A lot of corporates come forward to ensure that there is clean water. Micro watershed management is something which many of the corporates do and they're working for. So combining with different departments where they could probably look at groundwater recharge is some of the things which people do. This is the only source of water which is left, which is pure in nature right now. So we can recharge that water and look at that. So that is one of the aspects which we can probably look at, and which CSR funding can be really helping in that part, and setting up inexpensive systems which people can really benefit out of. So these are the few thoughts and ideas I want to park in your mind, and I'm really very keen and eager that corporates come forward and support us in the mission, as they had supported in MSRLM with the livelihoods. And I insist and I request that they should continue with the support for the livelihoods and also come forward for the water, because water is life, and livelihoods is, of course, something which gives life to people. Thank you very much, Mr. Bhattacharya, for this opportunity, and to CSR Box.
Again, thank you very much, Ms. Vimla Ramesh. It's a pleasure listening to you, and music to the ears on a topic which you talked about. Having lived for 4 years in Nasik, and we have a big facility there, where today at least 20 check dams have been made, and a few dams as big as a couple of football fields, which has changed the lives of villagers completely. Maharashtra has a lot of water, a lot of rains, especially after the Ghats, but the water doesn't collect. and the groundwater doesn't get recharged. I think it's music to the ears, and I'm sure soon after COVID, we will meet up and including talk about water and the girl child and woman. All very, very important topics. Thank you for speaking from your heart. Especially important what you mentioned, government is not looking at corporates on throwing money. I think we have an umbilical cord tie to learn from each other and have interdependence on each other to take good work in a sustainable manner forward. I now bring forward, thank you, I'll bring you back, Ms. Vimla Ramesh again. I now bring forward another of our eminent panelists, and we have Mr. Punit Lalbhai from the Arvind Group. The Arvind Group is famous for many, many decades for sterling work done across not just India, but also in their home state. And I would be requesting Mr. Punit Lalbhai to talk about how do we make changes in society, not only in the urban areas where you work, but you've done a lot of work also in the rural areas, and the urban-rural mix that is done, and what have been the learnings, and what do you feel are currently the biggest challenges when we work in these areas? So, Mr. Punit Lalbhai, the floor is yours.
Sure. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to talk about something that is so close to my heart. Talking about, CSR, I think, the definition of social responsibility needs to be all-encompassing. It needs to be broadened, and it needs to go beyond the 2% that everybody is really talking about, and that's actually become the definition of CSR. But unless business models are geared to create value for all stakeholders, I think value creation far into the future is difficult, because some part of the value chain will always break down. Talking about Arvind, I think, we were founded with the philosophy that business is, an engine to propel society forward, and it must operate in that context. And so with our programs, we've tried to link the main business model to value creation, of course, wealth creation for all stakeholders, but also value creation beyond the purely monetary factors that one tends to measure success by, also for all stakeholders. To give you an example, some of the work we do in rural India, and it combines with, the manufacturing engine, which is in urban India, is around the work we do with cotton farmers. Cotton is one of the sort of most intensive farmed crops, where almost more than 50% of the country's pesticides end up in just that one crop that occupies a very small percentage of the overall agriculture area. It also requires a lot of water. And so making cotton farming sustainable, in fact, in the entire life cycle, is number one. And number two is actually how you dispose the garment after it ends its life. And number three is actually the factory impact. So if you want to actually make, a garment sustainable, you have to look at the entire value chain, how garments are being disposed, how farming is being done. And I think that's an opportunity, because we've seen great success in working with farmers to grow cotton more sustainably, taking that sustainable cotton into the value chain, linking it up with consumers that are halfway across the world, and making them, party to, changes on the ground in rural India where it's needed. So farmers benefit. That benefit is sustained through a viable business model, and consumers get a story and purpose for the product that they're buying. So I think we need more such models, and I think social consciousness needs to pervade every aspect of business. That is one thing. The other thing is that, as in our experience, whenever we are trying to make an impact, we always feel that, no matter how much we do, whatever we are doing is a drop in the ocean. And it is extremely sort of constrained by the resources at our disposal. The problems are at a massive scale. And I don't think any individual, company, or actor can really make, change, lasting change. So we need to move from these models that are very successful, that are these points of light, and learn from them, but then collaborate across industry and collaborate with government, which has actually the maximum power to make any change stick, so that we can bring a lot of resources and solve problems in their entirety, rather than just creating these sort of pilots and models that are very nice, but fall short of solving societal problems. So I think those are the couple of things to offer from our experience, especially working in rural India and trying to link social benefits with business models.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lalbhai. I know that your firm has been doing fantastic work over decades, and from the inception of your company, which has a glorious past. As a young boy, I remember wearing your jeans and denims, which have always been those days famous, in my view, even better perhaps than Levi's. So, the agricultural part that you brought in, the inclusivity that you brought in, bringing stakeholders, obsessive collaboration, and most importantly, ensuring that these drops of waters have, the red dots are connected and working together. I think those are very important parts. And finally, what you mentioned, therefore, was the aspect of multipliers, and which country needs more multipliers than India. So thank you. I would come back to you again. I would now introduce our next eminent panelist, and the last one, Mr. Mahindra Singhi. He is the MD and CEO of Dalmia Cement. And we would like to hear from him, his own journey, the journey of his company, and his own views, whether it is discussions in the boardroom, whether it is collaboration with the government, whether it is touching lives in rural or urban India. And what would be, I think, even more exciting would be, at least from my side, to hear what do you see as challenges today that face us in the current environment? Mr. Mahindra Singhi, the floor is yours, please.
Happy evening. Thanks to Mr. Bhattacharya for setting context so rightly. And I'm also humbled by the presence of two eminent panelists. And I'm sure our discussions in the panel would go a long way to create a great roadmap for further activating CSR activities. We are fully aware that our business operates in a holistic way and are not monolithic entities. They are deeply rooted in the societies they operate. A healthy and happy society is an immense business sense. This is what our philosophy is. The recent pandemic is a great example in this regard, where disruptions in the society ultimately made business disruptions. The stakeholder and shareholder value and pride creation is considered a primary business purpose. And even the word shareholder also includes the term share. In our opinion, the social responsibility of business goes beyond CSR, and we would say it is corporate social involvement. It needs to be woven in the core business model, products as well as services delivered by the business. Once this happens, addressing social needs and constraints start driving innovations through new technologies, better operating methods, and management approaches, which ultimately reduce the long-term businesses and cost of operations while improving the overall local community lifestyle. Connecting core business with society also creates pride in stakeholders while connecting business to whom business soul. At Dalmia Cement, our boardroom discussions have already transformed into value and pride creation discussions, where serving large purpose is one of the broad agenda. We have already started tracking 6 capitals where both social and relationship capital and natural capital are equally weighted with the other 4 capitals, which are financial capital, manufacturing capital, resources capital. Our cement operations in India exist since 1939, and we are 81 years young. We have understood the advantage of growing together with the society. A key differentiator is shared value creation is our corporate vision, which says to be a leader in building materials and evoke pride in all stakeholders through customer centricity, innovation, sustainability, and our values. We have created this vision that inspired us to remain one of the most profitable cement company in India while addressing the local as well as global challenges in our humble capacity. The profitability definitely drives us to do more and more for the society. Today, we are impacting millions of lives through our overall impact capital of core business value and social arm, Dalmia Bharat Foundation. I would just like to respond to Madam that we are working in a big way on water, and by various activities on water conservation, etc. We are now more than 5 times water positive group, which means that whatever water we consume, we conserve more than 5 times. And we are also only company in the global cement world which has committed that we would be carbon negative by 2040. It means that we'll be not only taking care of our own business only, but we'll also be taking care of the globe, of the climate warming. Our foundation, Dalmia Bharat Foundation, is doing a great work through collaborations and partnerships to ensure a multiplier effect in the work we do. From enabler to implement the government scheme in the area, to carrying out large watershed management program, or to energy conservation program, our foundation is getting very good practices for others to replicate, and at the same time, learning from the good work being done by others. I would say that we are aware that government doesn't need money, but I would like to say we need money. We need money as a government, and our money can act as catalyst so as to implement government policies, government schemes in a big way. I fully appreciate the concern also, the importance also, which has been highlighted by Madam, that one has to work on water because pani hai to sab kuch hai. Water is life, life is water. So based on that, I think corporates are also working in a big way, as well as many other government missions are also working in a big way. Similarly, the views which have been expressed by Mr. Punit Lalbhai are real views which have to be encompassed by each and every organization, so that always society consider corporates as part of them, and corporates always consider society as part of them. We work with philosophy of do good and be good. And another one, be happy and make others happy. And I think these two philosophies have definitely created happiness in our own organization, happiness in all our stakeholders. We do work with various organizations. We take help of various organizations who are working for betterment of the society, and partnership, whether it's with the government, whether it's with the other groups, definitely triples the efforts of the two organizations. We do sometimes face challenges while managing rural public or the rural groups, but in time to come, now with more and more involvement of our people, of our foundation, in nearby areas where we work, where we have the plants, I think challenges are coming less, except the expectations become more and more the more we do. We do feel that whenever there would be more expectations, I think God would be kind enough, the board would be kind enough to share more money, more efforts with the society. I'm very happy today that I've been able to share my views as well. CSR Box is doing a great job in getting all people together. And I would say for this conference, and I would just quote one from Rigveda, Ano Brada Kritavo Yentu Vishwata. Ano Badra Kritavo Yentu Vishwata, which means let all noble thoughts come to us from all over the world for the betterment of the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the excellent, thoughts that you shared, Mahendra Singh ji. And also that what I really liked was be happy and make others happy. So many times people think of only being happy themselves. So aapne kaha jo be happy and make others happy. So this is a great thought. You also mentioned another very interesting thing, which I was really amazed as a cement company. 5x water plus. I mean, not just 1x, 5x. Fantastic. And also that you are heading towards carbon neutrality. You'll be happy to note also, for example, we are also in the same club. This year, we have become carbon neutral already for whole of Bosch Group in India. And we are going to announce for the global 150 countries also in the same direction. Great. So, Ramesh, and after maybe a couple of minutes, Mr. Ramesh, I would like to bring you together with Mr. Also Puneet Lalbhai. First, Ms. Vimla Ramesh, I would like to ask you a challenging question, because I think we should talk also about the other side of the coin. What are the challenges we face currently in the societal engagement on collaboration? So, Mrs. Ramesh, the question which comes to my mind is, Government of India has done certain amazing things. Aadhaar, passport. All of us know what getting a passport looked like earlier, and now the passport experience. Now, how can we create the passport-like experience in collaboration between government and corporate, also in the social engagement? Because many times I find down below, there are so many forms to fill. Schemes are wonderful. Implementation happens. But there are a lot of challenges. So by design, I'm asking you a challenging question, and I would like to hear from you, and then immediately put you on along with Mr. Puneet Lalbhai. Ms. Vimla Ramesh.
Thank you for the compliments for the passport, simplification, and also for Aadhaar. So when there is technology connected with, any program which happens, I think that makes a lot of difference, because then there is transparency, there is accountability. And so these two departments went they went in a very forthright manner, and they decided that it was very important to ensure that there is technology used for their services, and that enabled it, and that made it strong also. So similarly with any other department, for example, now I look forward to water also, because whatever services we are providing, so we have a very strong integrated management information system for the Jal Jeevan mission also, where we can see that the last mile delivery, that the tap connections are there or not online. So I think that is one of the most important factors, that when we use technology and when there is openness of data available to people with both the things connected, then it is possible. So I think that is one of the key reasons where we see the success of and also the desire of the people also, that when you go for any passport or visa, you are prepared to upload your documents online. You are prepared to, make that effort to ensure that when you go to the passport office, you have done all the steps required to, make it simple and easy. So it's basically a give and take, I feel, when you adapt any program between the government, the people. So when a platform is created, how you use it. So like Aadhaar also has been used very well by the people. So like NREGA, for example, I've had the fortune to work with NREGA also. In that also I've observed that, that job cards are online. In fact, now the NIC platform, which is made for NREGA, I think it is one of the best in our country, because work is allocated online, payment is made online. There is very little, possibility of complaints by the people. And if there is any difficulty, it is getting resolved online. I think these are 2 or 3 examples of the government programs which I have seen consistently that they have been able to support and sustain because of the technology which is used by the government, at all times.
Thank you very much. I would now like to create a small jugalbandi for a minute or two between you and Mr. Puneet Lalbhai. And the question that I have for both of you is, what would be the single one point that you would advise him, but also us as corporates, that we should retain? And what would be that single one point you feel there where we avoid, evade, or be a spectator to, where we do not create a jugalbandi good enough with the government? And the same question I would leave also to Mr. Puneet Lalbhai to ask you as a representative in the face of the government on what would be that the government should retain, and what would be that single one which can also create that wow effect. Over to our 2 eminent panelists as a small jugalbandi. This is slightly going off the course, madam, but I'm slightly of a maverick, so please allow me.
No, see, the single point which is very strong for corporates, which I feel, is the desire to bring change, amongst the people. There is a desire that they want to contribute and collaborate with government. So the desire to do is there, I think. And for government, what I feel, I always say this, that, you say there are tens of forms, tens of compliances to be done by government, but wherever I've had some interaction with corporates, I have found that they are much more bureaucratic than, government. When it comes to, supporting, they'll ask 10 kinds of compliances and forms. And at the end of it, you feel, are you government or are they government? So if it all is, it has to be, that give and take has to be there. And you have to come to a meeting point. So for that, I feel that is perhaps one of the things which is needed for corporates to perhaps learn. Because the desire to do can only happen when you trust the opposite person also.
Excellent. So I hand over to Mr. Puneet Lalbhai on the same note. And, she has given excellent bowling and batting, if I may use in cricketing terms. I have got bowled completely. But this matter on trust, this matter on jugalbandi, and this matter on are we government? What is your viewpoint, Mr. Puneet Lalbhai? And also the challenges that you faced and how you've overcome. Over to you.
Sure. So I think, I think we've had some extremely positive experiences working with government, and we've had some not so positive experiences as well. And I think what makes the difference between, a positive experience and a negative experience is, the people on both sides. And it's, today if we have, a great project manager, and if the counterpart on the government is also receptive and of like mind, we've seen success, despite all these, hurdles. I think if the will is strong enough, and if the sort of momentum and sort of dovetailing of thought. And I think all these, points of bureaucracy or systems or processes can be overcome easily. I think the one thing that has proved a little bit challenging is the time horizons in which we think about change. And I think it's not just a problem from the government side. I think it's a problem on both sides. That I think change happens over much longer time horizons than both the corporates or government is willing to sort of wait for the results. So I think if I were to change, I would change this at both sides. Our need to see quarterly, yearly transformative results versus the government's, tenure in office. I think these are both today restricting us, because thought processes change with quarter, thought processes change with tenure, people change, and that somehow affects social processes that sometimes need decades to deliver the result. So that would be my submission here. But I think we need both government and corporates need to get increasingly better at working with each other. I think it's happening, and I think at least speaking for us, we are very keen to collaborate on variety of issues, because I don't think without collaboration with the government we can get anywhere.
So very well said, because you gave an excellently balanced view, because life is all about balances. And especially what you talked about, that there is a must and a need for all of us to collaborate with the government, because the resources of the government, the depth and width of the government can never be compared with any corporate entity. So thank you, very well said. I would just like to talk about one thing that you talked about, trust and heart. Recently we did something very different from an engineering company. We built a mask line in 8 weeks' time, and this mask line produces 120,000 masks per day. 3/4 of the masks are going to COVID government warriors, free of cost, to 8 states and 4 metro cities. So normally we would have done a capex calculation, we would have done return on investment, but sometimes, as you rightly said, if you have the heart in it, you don't go into this IRR calculation. The last word would come from our most senior colleague, Mr. Mahendra Singh ji. What keeps you awake at night on this particular area in terms of you wish you could have done more? You wish you could have done more sustainability, more reaching out, more, a wider set of people getting affected, since you are 80+ years young and you are a company which creates happiness, and what also gives you sleepful nights on the same matter. So ye do cheez thoda bataiye.
Sir, you're on mute.
Haji, we can hear you. Thank you.
Great question, Bhattacharya ji. And what I would say, what keeps me awake in the day, which gives me great sleep in the night, is to do good, create trust, and enjoy life. We always believe that with togetherness only, we can survive. And this is the philosophy on the basis of which we go on working, that how we can take care of the society and how society also adapts us and takes care of us. And one recent example which I like to share, which sometimes may keep me awake in the night also, that what we have thought is that we should create in a big way rural employment by bamboonomics. When I say bamboonomics, I mean that we should plant bamboo plants as energy plants. And those energy plants can be planted in wasteland. And in India, you would be surprised to know that 29 million hectares is the wasteland on which bamboos or any other such type of plant can be planted. And these bamboos can be used. These bamboos can be used as the replacement of fossil fuel. So we have committed that by 2035, we would not be using any fossil fuel in the cement sector, cement group. We'll be only using either the bamboos or the municipal waste or the hazardous waste. Because as a corporate, as a cement company, we also try that how I can take care of others by using their waste product, like waste fly ash of the power plant, like slag as waste of steel plant, like pharmaceutical companies waste, and use it as a replacement of fossil fuel, by which you are able to bring down your carbon footprints also, bring down your cost also. So our major now project is how we can plant energy plants as a bamboo and create rural employment, enhance rural economics. So this is one area where it may sometimes keep me awake, but at the same time, I must say the philosophy which our group follows, that yes, you have to trust. And I must say the trust we get back from the government, the trust we get from National Skill Development Corporations, NABARD, or various state government with whom we work. And that's why by becoming 5 times water positive, government has also played a role. And based on that, now we have committed that will be 20 times water positive by 2025. And reason being is that we are connecting our planning of mining also, that how we extract water as well as conserve water, do water harvesting, and make our nearby villages self-sufficient. So let them not look up for the rain, but then let them look at their soil, which is full of water. So I would say the work which our team is doing, Dalmia Bharat Foundation is doing, the people of the cement companies are doing, they are feeling thankful to the government also, because now with CSR provision in place, there is a very specific structured mechanism by which works gets done, gets measured, gets monitored also, and then we come to know about the impact also. So then, because of that, there's a lot of more involvement also, lot of more involvement also of the people.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much. I think you can see happiness around you also, and that is most welcome. Mahendra Singh Ji,
my apologies.
Not at all. Not at all. I think that's the most wonderful part of the program. You know, that's the fantastic thing. I think it's great. So I would now hand over, for many of the colleagues want to ask questions. And Bhagyashree, will you take over the questions, because I can see a lot of raised hands, or should I do it? I'm okay, because the panelists, there are questions to defined panelists, but whoever asks a question, please name who you want to answer and what your question is. So if it's okay, I will give the names, or Bhagyashree, you can do that.
Mr. Soumitra, you may go ahead with going.
Okay. So Rajiv Koyal, you've raised your hand. If you could kindly come forward and ask who, and we will do all the question answers in the next 8 minutes, please, to finish by 6:30.
Sir, we've actually received a lot of questions through the Q&A box.
Okay, then I suggest you raise the Q&A box questions.
Sure. So one of the questions that we've received is that there are many mid-scale industrialists who think CSR as a liability rather than responsibility. What will be your message to them?
So may I request Mr. Puneet Lalbhai?
Sure. So I think, you know, I would say that, you know, one needs to look a little harder to see the intersection between spending money on CSR and sort of that creating a positive sort of ripple for your business to operate. I think, you know, we compartmentalize these things too much sometimes. Yes, the legislation, you know, makes us think that way. But I think, you know, spending on society can be done in so many ways, and there would be so many ways to spend in ways that, you know, it can increase your brand equity, it can give you goodwill, it can, you know, sort of have indirect benefit to your business. And I think you know, going through the due diligence and effort to find those opportunities is, I think, the key to doing good CSR, because you would also be good at implementing things that you understand and that is linked to the ecosystem of your business. Though it doesn't benefit, CSR by definition cannot be a business activity. It has to benefit society, and it has to benefit people beyond the business or stakeholders beyond the directly involved stakeholders. But I think it cuts both ways, that if you select it right, it can benefit, you know, the sphere in which you operate. Plus, you will do a good job at making a societal difference. So I think that's what you know, more deep thought is required in these cases.
And let me also add Punitji has said is involved more and more with the society. And we should consider this investment in the society, because we all work for people and planet also. So by working on a CSR platform also, or under the legislation also, we are addressing a lot of sustainability development goals, SDGs. So that way, any type of corporate, they should understand that it's not an obligation, but it's an opportunity which they have got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would now like to ask a question, which is, I'm mixing up two of the colleagues' questions. One is the matter of PPP partnership, public-private partnerships. And I would ask the take from Ms. Vimla Ramesh on this, because I'm sure she has a lot of experience on this. And also in this matter, one of our other colleagues is asking the recommendation as social impact leaders on emerging businesses around India, especially the achieving of self-reliance and self-sufficiency. So if I combine both this, what is your take, Ms. Vimla Ramesh, please?
So far as PPP is concerned, I think, like for example, we had a collaboration with water.org or Tata Trust. There's a program for drinking water when I was there with a Swachh program, which was there with MSRL and which we just initiated. So if there is a PPP model, I think it happens if the idea is discussed with all the stakeholders, they understand the importance of it, and it's even taken forward. Like Internet Sathi program, which we had done with the Tata Trust, for educating the women on the use of internet and mobile for their propagating their business. More than 1,000 women were trained, and they started using that model for their propagating their business. So it's a very beautiful model. Of course, one has to really discuss threadbare the pros and cons, because like some of the people are mentioning about mid-level industrialists not wanting to come and contribute. So I think the mindset has to be basically that you're not doing some charity, you're making a difference to society. That is first thought we should come. And most of the corporates who are coming forward for collaborating have understood that it is not only for earning yourself. We have the biggest of industrialists, when we talk about Bill Gates Foundation and all, which is coming forward and wanting to do, like recently there was a interaction with our department that they want to have a collaboration for chemical toilets. So corporate's intention is certainly there. So you have to find a midway and how useful and sustainable it is, because sometimes what happens at many of the programs which come, of course, government officials keep changing, and so there is always a fear in the minds of the people that whether the next person will take it forward or no. But if the idea is strong, if the idea has a possibility of sustaining itself, then any official which comes will really want to ensure that it is taken forward. So it's not a personal agenda either for the corporates or either for the government, because we are both responsible people. So it's not that, just because an official gets transferred that the idea can get diluted. So just like the government has a responsibility of ensuring the idea is taken forward, so even for the corporates, they should perhaps also realize this and not look at it like as a piecemeal program of providing probably blankets or rugs. I feel that the corporate ideology needs to change. Instead of providing material things, to the idea of bringing about a change in whatever little way possible. Because giving things or products or possibly is different, but bringing about a change in the thought process in a society, which will bring about the real change in our own ways of living. They are two different things. So for me, I feel that this PPP model, sir, which you are suggesting, has to be an interaction at all levels and ensure to all people that why this idea is coming. Many times what happens, because there is no proper discussion. I think Puneet Bhai also will agree to this, since they are working on this as an individual organization. And where a company like Bosch or Dalmia Cements is there, and when a smaller organization is there are difficulties which are there. But the intention is there. So if you look at the intention and you insist on taking that intention forward, I think it is a win-win for everyone.
So I
like,
think with this, thank you very much, ma'am. I think keeping mind in time, I mean, the most important thing that you talked about is the thought. And thoughts transcend beyond officers or our tenures. And deep thoughts are deep rooted. And you also talked about not being a hamster on a wheel and doing things, but doing things with little R&D and hitting the pause button, perhaps. So I think in corporate, we need to learn the pause button. I think in the government, there's adequate of it. Sometimes a bit too much, I would say. But I've been privileged to have three very eminent panelists with us, keeping in mind 6:30 and keeping in mind that CSR Box has organized this where all the panelists thank. And on behalf of them, I would also like to thank for a very engaging, thoughtful, and reflective dialogue. I now hand to Ms. Bhagyashree and her colleagues. And on behalf of us and to all the panelists, Ms. Vimla Ramesh, Mr. Mahendra Singhi, and Mr. Puneet Lalbhai, we missed Mr. Chaudhary. Thank you very much for a thoughtful, engaging discussion. Most importantly, your commitment for societal change in the long run. Over to you, Bhagyashree.
Thanks from our side also.
Thank you, Mr. Bhattacharya, for wonderfully chairing this forum. And a big thank you to our other panelists today, Mr. Lalbhai, Ms. Ramesh, and Mr. Singhi, for sharing your invaluable thoughts. Before we end the session, I would just like to go back to the initial idea that I began with, which was that creating a strong business and building a better world are complementary goals. And it's wonderful to see the dialogue today and the synergy that you are trying to achieve for this within your businesses. So thank you, everybody, for being here today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.